We were ready to steam bend all the parts that I've been making, so we've got the cone and the arm rail that we're going to bend. So here's the cone that I whittled out, and it's been around the form just like this, real simple. It's one thing you might not see is that it's got a bevel right here because this is bevel. So the bevel is just to match that. And that way, because if you don't bevel it, what happens is as you bend it around, those corners dig into the bench, kicks down. This will be clamped to the bench, and then I'll clamp one side of that just with a C-clamp and pull this side around. Some people use a two-part form, and that works great, but I do so many different chairs that I try to eliminate the number of form parts that I got lying around the shop. So I just get by with one part and it works great. Just clamp it right there, pull it around, clamp it there, it's done. So it's going to be looking like this right here when it comes off. And one thing you might notice is this is in the radial plane right here. You could do it in the tangential plane. I don't like the looks as good on a chair that's painted. On one that's not painted, it looks nice, but on one that's painted, I like the radial plane better. You also don't have to deal with so much shrinkage if it was in the tangential plane, and it kind of comes out of the log just a little bit easier in the radial plane. And then another advantage is this big wide flat part that you're cutting with the draw knife is easier when you're cutting in the radial plane. So I guess that's it for this. Next thing I'm going to do is be putting this in the steam box, and I'll show you the arm rail here, and then we'll go out and put it in the steam box. Here's the arm rail that I whittled out that we're going to bend today. So we're going to bend it around this form right here, and as we talked about, and if you look in the photograph, you'll see that this arm rail is real thick back in the back of the chair where the spindles come through it, and it's mostly aesthetics. It's a look that I wanted. I wanted a little more weight back there on the chair. So after we bend it, when it's right like this, I'll then cut it down to about 5/8 and add a handhold to it and all that. But I have to bend it in this thick form right here, which means that it's really nice if I use a strap. I don't like to bend with a strap if I can get by with it, but on this one it requires so much power to pull this thing around. The handhold on the strap gives me a lot more power to be able to pull that thing around. So when I clamp it up, this strap will be right like this and the arm rail will be like that. I'll clamp it right here, and instead of bending it from the center out like I do a lot of bends, I'll be grabbing that end and pulling it all the way around. You know, a strap's also used to be able to bend pieces that might break on the outside of the bend because it forces it into compression more. I think this would bend fine without a strap as far as that's concerned. The main use of a strap right here is just more leverage for me, more power. So this is in the being bent in the radial plane, so the growth rings are running right like this. And I used to think that was the preferred bending plane until the guy that taught me, Dave Sawyer, I had mentioned it to him one time, and he said, well, how do you know? And I said, well, I don't know, I guess I'm just making it up. And he said, I've never seen any difference. In good bending wood can bend in either plane just as good. And over the years I've noticed that Dave was right. If it's good bending wood, I can bend in either plane. I could put the growth rings right like this and bend it just fine. So it goes to other issues. Why would I put the radial plane up like this? And it's because I like the look of the handhold with the radial plane showing up. So when I add a handhold on the side of it, I'm going to match up the radial plane with it, and that's what you're going to see through the paint. Now, one last thing here, before we put it in the steam box, is when I took this off the form, I'd had this in the kiln drying it, and I noticed something that happens sometimes, and that is if I pull it off the form, it could lay around here in the shop for 2 months, and I'd pull it off the form and I'd get a little bit of spring back. But this has been in the form for about, I don't know, in the kiln, excuse me, in the kiln for about 3 days, 4 days. And not only didn't it spring back, but it got tighter. So you can see I can't even put it back on that form without spreading it. Now, I've seen that over the years many times, and I've even heard people talk about it. You'll have to ask somebody else what does that. I don't know what does that. I just know that it does it. So so it actually gets tighter as they're springing back. So now here's a different arm rail that I'm going to also bend for you. And as you can see, it's just going to be one thickness all the way through the chair. It's the way that I built chairs years ago, and it's the way most cone backs are built. I just started adding that thick arm rail, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago or so, and I liked it so much that's what I do almost all the time. But it's a little more work and a little harder to do, and so if somebody's wanting to make this chair, you might want to do just this, an arm rail right like this. And so you can see one thing that I do a little different is my handhold is included. I don't glue the handhold on after I bend it. I've already got a wide enough piece, so I don't see any reason to glue it on. I just go ahead and leave it on there, cut it out with a bandsaw, and bend it. You can also, this is also a good chance to see how wide those growth rings are. And I think I mentioned earlier when I was splitting that log that you want really big growth rings for strength and for bendability, because that's more summer wood in relationship to the spring wood, or more late wood in relationship to the early wood, which is a lot stronger, because the early wood is just all holes. It's just brittle, and what you're wanting is as fast growth as possible. So this one's just going to be bent real simple. I'll just take this arm rail, pop it up there, put in a peg and a wedge, pull around this side, and then pull around that side, not using a strap. And that's the bend that we'll get right like that. So let's go out to the steam box. So here's my steam box. And steam boxes, whether it's the steam box or whether it's what's creating the steam in the box, my advice is to use whatever it is that you got. So if you got the PVC pipe, I use this for years. It works fine. You got extra plywood, just make a snake coffin like this. It works fine. You just want something to get the wood up, so a rack or blocks in there, or whatever, to get it up where the steam is. And that's about it. I don't bother with getting it real tight. You see what my doors are right there, just foam, easy to put in, the seal easy to pull out. And creating steam, I've used all kinds of stuff. I've used Coleman stove, propane tank. You need something that just creates enough steam to where your box can get up to 210 degrees. If you don't have anything and you are going to go buy something, you can't beat a wallpaper steamer. You know, $60 or $70, you get everything. You get the hose, everything's included, and it's got automatic cutoff, it's safe, and creates a lot of steam. So it easily fills up this box and gets it up to 210. So I'm going to take my pieces and slide them in this end, plug it in. It'll take the wallpaper steamer about 20 minutes to get it up to speed, to get it up to 210, and then I'll leave it in there for as green as those things are, 20 minutes would be fine for the comb. I'll probably leave it in there for 30 or 40 minutes. I'm sure that you can oversteam. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that you can oversteam, because steaming weakens the wood fibers. That's why you bend the thing in the first place. But I don't know what it takes to oversteam. I think it'd take a long time to have to do that. So if you wanted to leave them in there for a full hour, I'm sure that's fine. That's fine too. Okay.